Welcome to Per Her Perspective, a podcast of raw, relatable conversations on leadership, challenges, and solutions in running a business, often with the support of smart peers. The show inspires business owners to grow, make bold decisions, and go bigger with confidence. I'm your host, Marla Noel. Let's get started. Hello, this is Marla Noel with Per Her Perspective, and today I'm interviewing Carolina Alvarez. Carolina is the founder and CEO of J&S Building Maintenance, Inc. and J&S Construction Cleanup, Inc., two certified women and minority-owned companies specializing in commercial, janitorial, and post-construction cleanup services across multiple states. So she's huge. Carolina founded J&S Building Maintenance to create a company centered on integrity, innovation, and care for people, both clients and employees. Today, JSPM is known for its commitment to safety first, quality always, which I love those 4 words. I want to ask you later about how you came up with those because I think that's brilliant because short and sweet. Serving corporate offices, healthcare facilities, schools, and property management portfolios throughout Southern California. In 2019, Carolina expanded her vision into construction with J&S Construction Cleanup, which has completed over 19,000 residential and commercial units nationwide for top general contractors and brands such as Starbucks, CVS, Chick-fil-A, Target, and Walmart. A graduate of the Stanford Latino Business Action Network, LBAN, scaling program, and Harvard Business School's executive education in leading business and personal transitions, Carolina combined academic insight with real-world leadership. She's also a board member of the National Association of Women in Construction, NAWIC, Orange County chapter, and an active advocate for women in the trades. So important today. So Carolina, welcome. And I'm throwing this in, I know at the last minute, but that safety first, quality always. How did you come up with that?
So safety first, quality always is one of the core values for both companies. And in our industry, there is a huge push for safety. There is a lot of accidents that happen in construction, but there's a lot of accidents that happen in janitorial. You're talking about wet floors, people walking on wet floor and slipping. And in the past, it wasn't so important as quality. And our employees were getting hurt. Not our employees, but the companies that I worked for were getting hurt. So I saw this firsthand. And it was never something that it was paid attention to. And I'm glad that it's actually been pushed throughout the years. And, there's a whole week for safety now. And what we come to understand and see is that as long as our employees are safe, clients are safe, customers are safe, quality is always going to come, right? So, but it's safety first. We want everybody to go home safely to their families and still keep that high quality of work.
So important. And sometimes your employees actually don't appreciate it. But if something happens, their lives change forever. So better that we think of it, so that never happens where there's a permanent change in somebody's life. So that's incredible that you put that in your tagline. So I love it. So I want to get to know a little bit more about Carolina. What motivated you to start your business?
So I worked for a national company for about 12 to 13 years. And I was mostly in operations. It was a national company, so I traveled a lot, West Coast to East Coast. Through the years of being there and learning, I was told over and over again, you should do this on your own. You should do this on your own. You're already doing everything. Felt like I was doing everything, but I did not know anything outside of operations. Okay. So it was never this great idea of, yes, I should do this. It was mostly I was great at operations and I loved doing it, but it was never something that I wanted to take out of where I was working at. But then there was like change in ownership. companies moved from Southern California to Florida. And so what happened was eventually we actually had this client that I had from day one of me starting there. And she called me one day and was like, with the new ownership change, this is your chance to start your own business. And I told her basically, yeah, that's not even in my plans. In fact, we had just bought our house and I had my second baby was 1 year old. So I was like, this is definitely not something that I'm going to do right now. And she said, okay, well, if you're not going to do that, then I'm going to give you 30 days notice. But if you want to keep me as a client, then you're opening your own company. And I was like, laughed it off. I didn't think about it. But within that short time, a lot of things happened where I was still asked to travel back and forth. I had a 1 year old. There was a lot of changes in management. And now there was a seed planted in my head. And I don't even think I told my husband, to be honest. I think it was one of those things where I just gave him notice. And the next thing was I didn't have a plan besides I can do this on my own. And that's how it kind of started. She was my first client. It was a surgery center. We still have them as a client, in fact. From then on, it was like, I have to make it happen because we have bills to pay. There was no other plan besides this has to work out. And that's how it started.
I love it that a woman business owner got you motivated to start your own business because I think more and more women are supporting other women in having success in business. So I love that. Um, okay. How about growing up? What was your childhood like? Can you tell me what were you like at age 5 or
Yeah.
8 or 10?
So, I was born in Argentina and my parents, I have a sister, they moved us here when I was in middle school, which looking back now is probably the most difficult age time to move someone to a whole different country with a whole different language. But the good thing is in Argentina, you get a choice of a second language, and my second language was English. So we did learn that in school from kindergarten on. I wasn't fluent, but I could speak it and read it pretty well. And I played sports. I played sports all the way through college and even after college. And it was a lot of, it was fun. It was difficult moving here, but I feel like, people kept asking me, when did you go from dreaming in Spanish to dreaming in English, which is a big thing, right? I want to say within a year or two, it was an easy transition with the language, but it was a hard transition in the age time. I dressed differently, I talked differently, I looked differently, but I met a really good group of friends and it was great. It was fun. I played sports. I tried out for every sport I could and I only made one and it was soccer. That's it.
And I think that there is a lot of analogy in sports to business because there's a lot about working together as a team and winning and having goals and training and things. I just think that's very relevant to being good in business. And you are very much a like this. You, you, you have a fire about you. Is there anything that you think created that fire in your belly?
Super competitive. Yeah, absolutely sports. And my kids are in sports now and as much as they're competitive, I feel like as a parent, I'm super competitive. And and even here, it's not so much like I'm better than the next janitorial company. It's more of like I'm gonna make it. We're gonna make this. Going, oh, we're in SoCal, now we're gonna be in NorCal. Or we're in SoCal and NorCal, hey, let's go to Arizona. And so on and so on. So yes, I do agree, and I say this to everybody, play sports because they learn so much, but they learn to be on time, to show up as a team, to be a team player, to be competitive. It's fun. We kind of bring it all together here at the office too. We have a lot of competitions that are not work related. It's more fun.
It's nice to make work fun, so it's not a four-letter word, but there's also something about sports and strategy and strategic planning. Like, you do have to have a strategic approach to sport. For a team, you're very good at running your business. I've listened to you talk about the things that you do and what you've picked up and what you've learned, and it sounds like it's very consistent as far as how you run your life and your business. Do you have a mentor or anybody that you think motivated you more in life?
To be honest, I feel like I've had several people at different stages of our growth in the business. And going back to the sports, there's kids that are coachable and there's kids that are not so coachable. I feel like I've been coachable to this date. So, sports or business, right? I pick up, I listen, then I try to see how that's going to fit into the business. So, along the way, I started with like I mentioned, I only knew operations. I had no idea what HR, any compliance, payroll, or financial reports. And that's probably the last thing I learned, to be honest. But it was different stages of different either people or groups that I have learned from or even showed up to different groups in order to learn more. So I feel like it's been in stages of the business as well as my growth as a leader and what I feel like I keep needing to learn more about. And and then the other side of it is I've had mentors before I started my business where I look back and I say, everything they did, I'm not going to do. We're going to do this. Right. So in a way, they're mentors because if I didn't have them in my life, I wouldn't have not known to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah. We learn what we should do and we learn what we shouldn't do. That's that's me. My business books are I read business books to learn about good things to do, but really it gives you some really horrible stories about the mistakes people made, which we also need to learn from. So, what one or two things do you think really made a positive impact on the growth of your companies? Because you can't just have one.
Right.
You have to have two.
I actually really like this question because I had to think about it. But more than anything, I think investing in people, number one. What does that mean? That means as we hire, we take our time to train, and then they're trained, and now you're coaching them, just like we're being coached. I think until the last day, until retirement time, everyone needs to be coached and they're going to keep learning, but you're holding them accountable for those steps along the way. But um my second thing is really saying yes before I was ready. I would have not started a business. It's almost like just take that leap, right? Like just do it. A lot of our contracts and including the second company, the JNS Construction Cleanup, was started because I said yes before I was ready. If we wait to be ready, it's just like, oh, 5 years from now, I'm gonna have a podcast or a year. Well, do it today. Why? Like, what's the holdup? And if you're trying to wait until you have time, you're never going to have time.
So true. I love that. And that can do not being afraid. I guess that's what I see in you. I don't think you're afraid of anything. It's kind of like bring it on. That's what I see. So I don't know if you think that's the case, but that's what I
Oh,
see.
I'm glad you see that.
Is that
Thank you.
is there anything you wish you had done sooner? Like you got a little bit of a push to get the business going, and I know it's hard to get started, but what have you learned that you could have been doing earlier?
If I had known, because I feel like this only comes from the experience. So if I had known, I probably would have started with investing sooner on technology. So like a CRM or EOS, something along those lines a little sooner, rather than later. And we are probably the last couple of years have invested in that technology, but I think a great business will be better off from day one. But again, it's either you have a great mentor that's telling you these things and you kind of follow it, or it just comes with experience.
Yeah. And you're right. Technology, I think makes or breaks a company because you can't be without it. Are there any disciplines that you would share with regarding good business management with people?
Yeah, I mean
Anybody's
there's a lot, but I mean maybe like the top few would be hire slowly so you can coach uh, in a timely fashion. Yes, I understand sometimes we grow really quick and we just need to hire quick and fast to fill the seats. But then you're going to have a huge turnover and then you're going to be wasting time on getting new hires. So hire slowly. The second thing, which I think is probably the biggest one, is accountability. KPIs is an example of something that going back to what would I have done sooner is definitely KPIs. We didn't start that until 2 years ago now. So I wish someone would have told me this is important and this is how you do it. More on the personal side, but really protect your calendar. Make time for working on your business, but make time for family time and make time for the fun times and protect that time. Don't let someone keep inviting you, saying yes to everything. I did that too. And it took up a lot of my time and I kind of burnt out, right? So you burn out. Um, oh, my biggest one, always keep learning. Keep learning. You might think you know everything, but times are changing, technology is changing. So there's always something to learn. And even business, forget technology. There's so much you can learn about people, about company culture, about systems and, procedures. So keep learning. Always keep learning. It makes it more fun.
It does. And okay, since you brought that up, and there's this incredible book back there. I mean, I think you read and you study business. I know you study business because of the way you talk about it. So, is there one business book that you think really helped you over other business books?
I'm only gonna say this because we're like in the midst of it, but traction. And the thing is, I feel like every business owner can pull at least one little rock out of it, something out of it that every business owner can use. I read the book, I don't even 2, 3 years ago, maybe longer. I'm not sure when it's the first time that I was introduced to it, but already had me, it planted little seeds. And then at WPO and other groups, it was like people kept talking about it. And so I had to go back and read it. I actually got the Audible for it. And then I was like, I really need to do this. And you just get to the point where you do it and well, right now, like I said, I'm in the middle of it. But it's one of those books that will definitely, if it doesn't change your business, it will definitely help your business, even a brand new business owner, especially probably a brand new business owner. They might not understand all of it, but it's something that it can help them set it up for sure.
Did you read Get a Grip also,
Yeah.
or just
Yes.
Traction? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was mentioned in another podcast that I had my co author actually use Traction quite a bit. There's nothing really new about anything in that book because I was using some of those things before that book was ever written. But it is such a good formulation of all of those things. And the great part about that book is you do not have to do all of those things all at once. And there's one thing I kind of object to that I wouldn't do, but it is a great accumulation of good business practices.
I agree.
So
I think it's more of holding us accountable. That's how I see
yeah,
it.
you got to get things done.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I just held an L10 meeting for one of my clients this morning. And these guys are so sharp, and I just had to say, you guys, you need to come up with bigger rocks.
Yeah. We just had our first
So,
L10 meeting today. So, like I said,
hey, that's
very
fantastic.
new, very in the middle of it. So we're definitely keep learning.
Yeah. And that's the point of it. You grow with the processes. And as you get bigger, the processes get to be a little more sophisticated, I think, if that's how you want to describe it. But one thing on what you said that I want to go back to, because I know this about you, we've talked about this business and family, and you put a definite importance on family and keeping that in front of the business. So, how do you do that?
It started with my CPA. He would always tell me when we went to do the taxes the first year, he'd always say, no, I would always say, oh, this, it's something small, something just to pay the bills. And he's like, this is not small. Like, this can grow. And I said, no, no, I'm good. I'm happy with the way it is. And then the next year it doubled, and the next year it doubled. And he's like, I told you so. And It's one of those I told you so's, but here's my thing. I know we can make it so much bigger than what it is, but I do have kids, and a lot of my management team are also parents of young kids. And I think right now we're all in a place where our work life balance is pretty good. And I've worked at a place where work took over life, and I did not like that. So I wanted to be in a place where I could do both and do both with enough time that I enjoyed it. Yes, there is long weeks and long days. That's going to happen. But the second important part of that, it's surrounding myself with a team that I can take the time off and nobody can tell that I've been out. And yes, that took time because it's a constant developing the team and giving them the tools and yes, you can do this as much as I can. You can too. It's putting the trust on them. And I think the team that I have today is like, I honestly think I could take probably a year off and the business will still be here and be profitable. So that's where I'm at right now. But it takes a lot of trust and being able to delegate a lot of the tasks and know that they're going to do it well.
Okay, I this is not a question, but that I gave you in advance. But since you mentioned trust, and I see that as a limitation for some business owners, they just can't let go. And I think one of the big things in traction is let go of the vine. How hard was that the first time you just said, "I'm going to trust this person"?
I took a lot of classes. I did. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't trust. And that's one of the things that people are always like, you don't see it because you don't trust it and it's true. I do not trust. I don't trust. And it's a big thing. But I did have to take a lot of classes to get me to the point of understanding why and who and how. And it was a lot of work on my end to make sure we had the processes in place that I could trust someone to be able to follow. That doesn't mean go ahead and trust anyone and everyone. It just means that if you're prepared for it, then you can trust. That's why it takes me a long time to trust someone because I don't know if they're in the same headspace as I am. It's a difficult question and answer. I'm not sure because I'm not a fully trustful person. It's just it takes time.
Would you say, and I'm making a big leap here, that you figure out that they share your values?
Yes, yes, yes. And we were talking about that today. You have to be able to. I don't even know how to say it. It's because it took me so long, Marla. That's probably one of the biggest things that I worked on the most is being able to know that that we all share the same, like we all want to succeed. We all want to grow, but not only for us, but for our teams. And I love when I hear that from them, that it's not just like, oh, well, I want the more money because I deserve it because I put in the work. It's like, no, I want everyone else to get to where I'm at. And I think that's where things turned when I started seeing that they care as much as I care.
You do. I want to know, what classes did you go to? Because I have to have some other people go to those classes
It's,
because
it's,
that's hard.
yeah, it's taken a little bit from everything that I've done, right? So like the the Stanford, the Harvard, the management classes, groups, like
Mhm.
our WPO group. That's why I'm always asking Terry questions. Then like I might call or email someone like, with our NAWIC group, which is the construction group, like, well, how do you guys do this? During COVID, it was a lot of questions on culture. What are you guys doing for your employees? How can we and so but you gotta take a little bit from everything. You're not gonna be able to apply it all, and it might not apply to your business, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's knowing how to take those great ideas and make them work for you. But it's taking a little bit of everything that you do or groups that you are involved in.
Funny, when I got the best CFO on the planet, the poor guy, I have a rule of a 90-day rule, and I have my thumb on a person for 90 days. so I can see how they work. And the poor guy thought that's how I was going to be always.
Um,
And so when I let go, he kept saying, "Are you sure you don't want to look at this?" And it's like, "No, I trust you." That's just my process, but
yeah.
it works for me. I don't know. Anyway, do you have any regrets?
Going back to the trust, but no, I don't even regret that. There's lessons learned, right? There's no regrets, it's lessons learned. So maybe trusting the process. It's a good one. How do we get to certain and what is that called when but like when you've made it, but you don't feel like you've made it because you're like, no, that can't be me. There's a word for it, but it's not that I made it because I never feel like I've made it. Like, when do you know you've made it? But I feel like maybe 2, 3 years ago, I was in a position where I could have mentored someone, but I didn't think I was good enough. Right. So it's not so much regrets of running the business, is it's trusting in myself as well. So I wish I would have trusted in some of the ideas that I had sooner and go maybe 2, 3 years ago, do some of the things that we're doing today, um and just delegated more. But I wasn't ready. That's the thing. Like, yeah, I could have done it sooner, but to be honest, I don't think we were ready. I don't think I was ready, and I don't think our management team was ready. I don't think the businesses were ready for that. So lessons
That,
along the way.
yeah, I think that's a very good point because I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And people who think they're not going to have problems in business are just kidding themselves. But those are the lessons. So they're actually a good thing sometimes. If I asked your employees how they saw you as a boss, what would they say?
I mean, I don't know, but if I had to, because I hear little things here and there, I know they would probably be like tough but fair. So tough but fair, I think, would be the thing that they would say. I think I put a lot on them because I know they can do it, but also ask for the help. And I'm always here to, give advice or say that might not work, or let's try to figure it out together. But I do have expectations, but not unreasonable. I don't think they're reasonable. I just think that they can do it. Just like I have higher expectations for myself, and I go out and learn it if I don't know it.
That's so nice. I know you spend a lot of time training the employees. Do you have a set process in mind? You have such a diverse group. But how do you get people to the point where they're doing what you think is the right thing or mostly the right thing?
So this is actually a current example. So we have the exit interviews when employees leave, and training is always brought up. Maybe it was, my manager didn't train me properly, or I don't think I spent enough time training. In our mind, we showed you, we gave you the tools, we gave you the time that we thought would take to be trained. So I think every time we have an exit interview, we learn something and we try to improve on that. So we have a new hire starting tomorrow, and our expectations on the training have changed. We have processes in place, we have the SOPs, and we also ask the current employees that as things get updated, or you feel that there's something missing on the SOP, or maybe something that we write doesn't make sense to you, we ask them to update it so that it's easier flow. So as this new person starts, we're also going to be trying a new way of training, and we think it's going to go great. I'll let you know in 30 days, Marla.
Can't wait to hear this.
So, yeah, we're changing it a little bit, but again, it's coming from as we hire and there's exit interviews. We take those little, nuggets of information and see, okay, let's try it differently this time. No, the procedures are not going to change. It's more of like how we're doing it. Procedures are the
Well,
same. It's the time maybe that we spend on it.
it's funny since you mentioned SOPs, the standard operating procedures. Actually, I mentioned that in a meeting this morning, and somebody had to remind me. Well, not everybody knows what SOP stands for, first of all, but they change sometimes. So, uh, but to compliment you, a lot of companies don't even have SOPs. So the fact that you've documented them and you use them in training, That's more than a lot of businesses do.
Yes, but I also learned
So,
that throughout classes that I've taken.
well, you put it into action, and some, it's like some people just go along and think, I'll do that later, but you've done it. And that's working on the business, not in the business.
Yes.
And WPO, I know you've been a member of WPO for a couple of years. Um, how do you think that's helped you with running your business besides calling Terry?
Right. No, I mean, same. I go with an open mind, and sometimes it's the smallest thing. Oh, we put cards on employees' desks for like anniversary years. And again, that might not work for me, but what I did is, okay, well, I'm going to give out pins for anniversary years. We just started that because of someone said that at the one of our WPO meetings. EOS was brought up how many times in WPO, and I was like, I really need to look into this, and now we're doing it. So it's taking not everything that I think will work works. So sometimes I've taken ideas back to the office and then it just doesn't work out. It's not for us. So it's going to the meeting with an open mind and thinking, well, yeah, everybody's doing that, but maybe we're not doing it that way. So, okay, we're doing it, but it's not working. So what are you doing that's working for you? Right. So that's what I take from our WPO meetings. It's the little pieces of information that we then either change it to our advantage or add to it. Or, like I said, sometimes we try and it doesn't work.
So, what do you think about the issue processing methodology?
So that's probably where we get the most because it might not be an issue for me and it's an issue for somebody else. But when we start asking the questions, then I start going, oh, shoot, that's a great question because we don't have that. Maybe I should add that to the handbook. Maybe I should add that to the procedures. Maybe I should look at my financial reports, et cetera, because someone asked the right question. And that's all it takes. It might not be my problem. It might not be my issue, but someone will say something that will definitely be me or a reminder like, hey, I haven't looked at this for a year, right? So let's look at it again. And, if we're in California, things change a lot. So someone will know something that not all of us know.
Very, very true. It's so funny. I've been in business. I'm not even going to tell you how many years, but I feel like I learn something every single meeting, which is like, I mean, it's just a blessing to get that from other people, but it's having other smart people in the room, including you. And you've participated in some programs that WPO is affiliated with. Tell me about that.
WPO sponsors a program at Harvard and it's called Leading Leading Business and Personal Transitions Program. That's what it's called. And it's a mix of online and you actually get to stay at Harvard for a few days to go through the program. But the really cool thing about it is that it's for the international WPO group. So anyone outside of the US can also be part of the class. And going to this, so the first part of it, you don't really get to know everybody. You don't get to know everybody until you're in at Harvard with the students. And it's I the most interesting part of it was how business is done outside of the US and what's considered legal or not legal or wow, you guys do that, like we could never do that here outside. Again, I'm going to go with California, the things that we can and cannot do. But what was really interesting is now you get views from everywhere. The views and values that they talk about, it's like mind-blowing. I thought it was so interesting. And some of the businesses that some of these women have, it's amazing. But again, it opens up your mind to your values, your culture, your business culture, right? There's companies there, like I think it's got to be 1 or 3 million, I can't remember, or more, but there's 50+ million-dollar companies. So you're sharing ideas with people that been doing this for a very long time that are super successful and also people that are starting their business and they're in that starting stages. The other thing was companies are like 100 years old or more. So they're going through that transition. So you're like, you start thinking, well, if I don't sell, then what's the next step? Right. So that transition part was very interesting for me because I didn't think of, besides selling, what are the other options? What is out there? And we talked a lot about that. So I highly suggest. Marla, I always say like this program was great, and I've done a lot of programs. That's been by far my favorite program to do.
Okay, so who did you meet from other countries? Give me a country. Because
We had a
WPO,
lot of Canadians. I think the
that's
majority was Canadian. Yeah.
really, yeah, because WPO is big in Canada. And it's surprising. They're also, I don't know how they got to be so big in South Africa, but they are.
Yeah, so there was someone from
Um,
Africa, someone from Mexico, actually a few people from Mexico. By the way, they all speak perfect English, but their business is from Mexico. They're from Mexico. So, and I don't know if there was any other countries, but those are the ones that stand out.
that's what I love about WPO, the fact that it's international. Because yeah, business is different in other parts of the world. So yeah, it's nice to learn what other people are up against.
Hmm.
As we have challenges in California, they have different challenges, and it's still
And your
difficult
problems
to do
don't
business.
seem so bad anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true. I know you're involved a lot in nonprofit and you want to get your employees. I see you a lot on LinkedIn. You're doing a lot of projects with your employees. And so what I've learned about you is your passion definitely extends beyond your business. So tell me a little bit about that.
So our last monthly meeting, we actually circled back on why we started. It's called an employee charitable committee. And why did we start it? And when did it start? We've been doing it now for 3 years. And at first it's so exciting and so new and everybody wants to participate. And then it becomes like a habit and it's almost like, oh, we have another meeting or we have to do this. So then I was thinking about it. I was like, what? Like, how was it started? And it started during COVID when, as a janitorial company, we had access to toilet paper, we had access to chemicals, and where clients didn't. And they were struggling to get certain things that they needed to stay open. That was the biggest thing. It was like, well, we needed to stay open. Well, we needed to operate, right? So, as much as we wanted to share, we could only share a little bit. So, what happened was when we found venues to get the stuff that we needed. And we said, we don't need to stock up. We just need to get through. Let's share this with clients that actually need it to stay open. So it was a way to give back. And one of those was Thomas House. And so we were donating toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies. That's how it started without even having like a committee or anything like that. And as soon as like everything started opening again, I feel like the employees really enjoyed doing that. It was almost like, oh, that was a nice thing to do as a group. We started thinking of other ways, food banks. We would go volunteer at the food banks. And then it became, okay, well, what can we do next? We had a toy drive. And then it expanded to, let's ask the employees if they had a choice, where would they want to volunteer or give back to? So we had animal shelters. We try to pick something either every month or by quarter, depending on how big that is. And so we have like the back to school is really big. I think our goal was 50 backpacks. We had 180 something this year that were
Oh,
donated
wow.
through clients and employees, and the word now is getting out. So people like to come together. It's so cool. I love it. I love how much it's grown. The toy drive, it went from a handful of toys to we have bikes and skateboards and so many toys. And we don't just help one nonprofit. Now we help three nonprofits. I think every year it's better. And I think the more people hear about it, they want to be part of it. So it's not just us, it's our clients and the community because we also share with the community. It's super cool.
I know from the Boys and Girls Club, it means so much to every child that we impact. So good for you for making a difference and caring again, because I know a lot of business owners that don't do that. So, okay. So, Carolina, what drives you above all else?
I think it's changed throughout the years. And as I get older and wiser, But it's still my family, Marla, you know this. It's being able to be with them and be there for milestones for them and being able to share the experiences because I feel like they're kids and, oh, things come easier to them, but it's because we're able to provide those things. So them being part of like my son who's in high school now, I ask him to go for the scholarship night and I've had, him on stage with us and, hey, this is what it's doing for some of your peers. And my daughter will participate in some of the NAWIC activities. And, she's a little girl, but one day she might be someone with a hard hat on a project. It's them and not just my kids. Like I love sharing. Like I always invite all the kids to any activity that we can bring underage because a lot of them you have to be 18, but as long as they can participate in it, I always open the doors to everybody. So my drive is them, but as they get older, my drive might change. We'll see where it takes me.
I just have to ask this. What are the ages of your children?
10 and 15.
And it's so hard to run a business and have a family, particularly young ones, because they do take a lot of your time. So it's difficult, but I think it's so important for you to say you put your family first because I know it's a struggle for a lot of business owners, particularly women that are the ones that are doing, everything at home and then everything in the business. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
So, and NAWIC, I just have to ask really quickly about National Association of Women in Construction in Orange County. Um, you participate in that. How many years have you been involved in NAWIC? Because I
So
know somebody that's
I started my business
involved.
in 2019 for the JNS construction. And that's the year that I went because I was seeking somewhere for advice. And I think I Googled women in construction or construction and women. And that was one of the groups that popped up. And so I went to the first meeting with questions about how to run the business. And NAWIC is not really about running a business. It's about the trades. But there were women there that were able to answer my questions. So I'm so glad that I became a member so many years ago and been able to be part of the board and they also, we once a year we do big give backs. So,
Tell me a little bit about that because there was one at the Boys and Girls Club not that long ago.
yeah, so we partner with Boys and Girls Club for the last 2 years now, and that's Block Kids, where the kids get blocks and they have to build a construction project out of it. Where they get blocks, foil, a rock, and a piece of string, and then they have to tell us a story about it, and then the top 3 get submitted to regional, then to state, then it goes national. And this last year we had one of the kids win, so it was really cool. But so that was one of the how we connected with them. But we've done safety wick at the Orange County. We try to partner with like Thomas House. Obviously, we remodel a lot of their apartment units. So it is for that. It's to give back. Like NAWIC is a place for tradeswomen, but it's also a place where we come together and try to help in whatever way we can.
I think it's interesting about NAWIC is it's a combination of the business owners and employees in construction. So it does not have to be just the business owners.
And
It can
students,
be women that and students. Yeah. So a lot of different levels of people involved in where they're learning construction and becoming part of the construction world. And it's like there's no reason why women can't be part of it.
members are in accounting. That's what they do for their companies. We have students that are just out of high school doing whatever it is, plumbing, electricity. And the cool thing about the students is a lot of the times, if they're members, which either they're sponsored or their membership is very low cost, but most of them get sponsored, is that they end up working for someone that's there. So it's
Yeah.
great.
You can hire your employees with NAWIC's help.
Yes.
So that's good. Okay. So, what question have I not asked you yet that I should have asked you?
I honestly, I really like the questions. There were definitely it was interesting because a lot of it, like, I'm going through it right now, Marla. I'll let you know how it goes, you know? It's really like the questions. There's nothing else that I would add, and we're still not done. We're still in the beginning stages of our businesses, so there's a lot more. If you ask me these questions again in 5 years, I would like to see where I'm at compared to now.
Carolina, I'm going to hold you to that. So I'm going to have you come back on the podcast because, yeah, there's so much to learn in business. I know somebody that says new level, new devil. It's so true. You learn one thing at a certain level of revenue, and then you double your revenue, and there's something else you have to learn. So, yeah, I know you're at a pretty high level, which I really appreciate. And I commend you for all that you've done. You can get bigger, but you are a pretty good sized business right now. So
Yeah.
good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Marla, because honestly, we need women like you. We need supporters and we need the ones that are gonna keep pushing us forward and keep opening our eyes and giving us those chances and saying, hey, don't do it like this, do it like this. Not so much don't do it like this, do it like this, but you always say, well, what about if we do A, B, and C, right? So I like that.
Yeah. In WPO, we're not supposed to give advice. We are supposed to provide experiences. So I did this and it worked or it didn't work. Or I've heard somebody do this and it worked or it didn't. Although we're always tempted to give advice.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you, Carolina, for being on Per Her Perspective. I really appreciate your time and thank you, thank you, thank you. I will plan on interviewing you in another, maybe not 5 years, but maybe 3 years, and we'll see how
Let's
well
see.
the traction is going.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Well, thank you,
all
Marla.
right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Per Her Perspective. I'm your host, Marla Noel. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. To go deeper, check out my book, Drama Free Management, a practical guide to moving teams from high drama and low performance to low drama and exciting results. To connect with me, visit my website, ocgrowthadvisors.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and perspective.